All right, we're here getting ready to get started on this Husqvarna. We're going to replace the deck belt again. This thing has been notorious for slinging deck belts off. Actually, this is a replacement deck. I got this mower out of the trash. This was literally set out for trash. I knocked on the person's door and I asked them if they really were throwing it away, and they said yes, get it out of here, everything's broken on it, it doesn't work. So I got in my truck, got a screwdriver and a pump, I aired the tires up and did a couple little things to it. Within 5 minutes I had it started. I put my ramps out on the back of the truck. I drove it on the back of my truck, and here it is. Very expensive piece of trash. There was actually nothing wrong with the drive portion of the mower. I don't know why. The person didn't know how to set the choke, or I don't know what the issue was there. I got it fired up immediately. So it did have problems on the deck. There were some belt pulley bearings that were going bad. They weren't bad, and some were bent, and they were causing it to drag and make a lot of noise, and I guess probably was breaking belts. Couldn't find, there were some broken welds. The cheapest I could find a deck that was comparable was about $700, where you could get a new mower. So I have a bunch of parts and pieces to mowers, and I dissected one of the mowers and I took the deck off of it. The decks are mostly all the same. Husqvarna has a heavier deck, it's thicker, better metal, and the mower I took it off of was I think an MTD, and it had an actual really nice deck. It wasn't thin metal. It was a good heavy gauge. Same exact deck. I literally just took the deck off of the other one. I painted it this color so it would look better, and here's the mower. But I have thrown some belts. I think they're notorious for doing that. It's not a real good design. So now I've talked way too much for this video. This video is going to run too long, but it won't take me long to get this thing changed out. I'm going to show you how to change this belt out and get your mower going. So here we go. Let's get going. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at this thing. All right, hope we're not getting too much sun on this side. This camera's not real good at handling the light. But anyway, we have clips on both sides. We're going to pull these clips. Now, what you want to do is you want to pull out a little bit with your hand so that that clip clears the edge, and you're going to push back, and it's going to come out. Now, I have put the deck all the way down, and I've also positioned this lawnmower in a low spot in my yard. Now, if you got a garage, of course, that's much better. You can use jacks and things like that to help you out, but I'm just going over what some people would have, don't have a garage or don't have somewhere to get to. You know, this is what a lot of people have to deal with. So, okay, we got a clip there. And we have a clip on the frame. I hope I can get that for you. Alright, let me change the setting on my camera. Okay. All right.
here's the clip under the frame. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to pull out a little bit on the clip so that it clears the nut, and you're going to push back. It's hard to do with one hand. Okay, there it is. Now we're going to pull this off, let it down. Same thing with the back one. It's going to have a washer on it. Make sure you put the clips where you remember. You're going to put the clips where you remember. Let me get my camera set here again. Alright, remember we took that clip off right there, and I'm going to put the clip on the foot mount. There's going to be a washer on there. You're going to pull that washer off so that it's somewhere secure. You're going to pull that out. That pulls it loose, that drops it. Yeah, you've almost got it down now. Now, in the front, there's a couple places you can cut this loose. Some of them have a clip in the front, and it will allow you to my camera's just giving me all kinds of grief. It'll allow you to drop it here. Now I'm looking from the front of the engine back under, or you can drop it at the deck. Now if you look on the front of the deck, right there, there's a cotter pin. Pull that out, put it somewhere secure, and this rod pushes out. Now that drops the front. Now this side's finished. It's that easy to drop on this side. We're going to go around to the other side, and once again I hope my camera does this justice, because yeah, it looks like it's even better on this side. So we're going to do the same thing. Now there can be various types of pins on these things. Sometimes they just have the regular pins that you push out. These are kind of like a locking pin. Honestly, I've never seen them on anything but this. This one's a little bit different, actually. I'm going to do the same thing. We're pulling it out, and then pushing it. And once again, we're going to drop this, pull the pin back. We're going to put it on the foot mounts, foot pads. Now, you can, and sometimes you have to, depends on the unit that you're working on. Sometimes these bolts have to come out. Here. Sometimes these bolts have to come out, and you have to take these covers off. This cover is covering the pulleys. Sometimes they have to come out in order to get the belt in. My experience with Husqvarna is that they don't have to come off. Now, if you were replacing the belt without dropping the deck, yeah, you would have to take these out. It's not a big deal neither, and sometimes it's a good idea to take those off and do a good clean out. So, all right, we should have one more pin, and that's going to be on our frame strap. Let's take a look here. It's going to be right here. I'm going to pull that out. Secure it. Same thing. Going to pull it out. Now we've come to the worst part of this. Now, I believe I have done it without taking this apart, but the worst part of this job is taking the throttle cable, PTO cable, loose. Now, there's a bolt right there, and you take that loose, and that's going to allow the cable, it's going to give you movement of the cable. Now the cable actually comes loose on the other side. I'm going to try to get you a good shot of that, so I'm going to have to put the camera down and reset. Okay. So it's going to be right there. Well, 11:30 seconds, it's not going to work. Okay, the bolt that we need to take out is going to be a 10 millimeter. So I'm going to try to get you a shot of this. It's a little bracket that holds the PTO cable in. I'll loosen that up. So we got that loose. Now, this is where I always have a problem. There's a spring on this cable. There's the spring. We need to take this spring loose, and it is hooked onto a bracket. There's a hole in the bracket. All we need to do is maneuver it enough to pull it off the bracket. Okay, looks like on this unit, I'm going to need to take this bolt completely out of that bracket. And it's got a tight thread on it. Alright, put the bolt somewhere secure. That should give us enough slack to be able to get over here and pull this cable. Just have to maneuver it enough to get it free of that bracket over there. Now, we probably have enough slack now. So, I'm going to try from the other side. Alright, now we're going to get a look at this deck. Let's get a look at it. There it is. I'm going to clean it up here and go over it real good. Make sure what's going on with our belts. Make sure you don't have a bad bearing or some other things wrong. Right here I found a random spring that I believe it looks like it may have been pulling this pulley back to keep it out of the way. So this may be an issue. It may be what caused the break. So I need to put this, here it is. We're going to put it over here so that we know where it's at. And there's the other clip. And I'm going to get this thing cleaned up when I got two hands. And we'll see what's going on here. We'll get back with you. Okay, let's take a look at this. Take a look at the deck here. So it has a bad bearing. I don't have a bearing that will match this right now to change it out, but this bearing is bad, the deck bearing. I think it's a carrier bearing. Either way, it's bad. Since I already have the blades this far, this close, I'm going to go ahead and I took the blades off and I'm going to sharpen them. I have a little hand tool to sharpen them with. A lot of times you can drop them off at your local hardware store if you have like a Ace or something like that, and they can do a nice job sharpening them for you. I generally do that. I just don't have the time today to do it. So I tell you, on this mower, took a 16 millimeter to get the blades off. On these, the curvature goes down towards the ground. It's easy to get your blades on wrong. It's very easy to do. And just because they have stars in the middle doesn't mean they fit. These stars are all different. There's different measurements in between each one. Some of them's rounded in the center, some's rounded on the corners. Believe me, they look very much alike, but they are different. You have to get blades for your unit. They're different. Now, what I mean by the curvature, the curve of this blade is facing down towards the ground. It's a 16 millimeter socket to get them off. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do a hand sharpen on them. I have an attachment for my drill. This goes on the drill. This guides it. This guides the back of the stone, and the stone sharpens it somewhat. It doesn't do a great job, but remember, these blades are they are balanced, so that's what this is for. Put a blade on there and you balance it on that little device, and if it's too heavy on one side, you take some off the other. Or too heavy on one side, you take more off. Anyway, you want to balance the blades out so that this thing sets in the middle. I will set it here, put a blade on it, show it to you. Now you're going to balance, you're going to put this blade so that it fits on this cone, and you want the blade to be perfectly balanced on both sides, so it's going to balance perfect, and it is now. It's perfectly balanced. You can see it's perfectly balanced, and when I get finished sharpening it, it should be the same way. I have to see to it that it is the same way when I put these blades back on, or you would get a terrible vibration, and they can tear themselves apart. And on a push mower, you could theoretically you could junk an engine with an imbalanced blade. So you have to balance those blades. I'll show you a little bit about that in a minute. But it has a bad bearing. I'm not going to replace it at this point. I'm going to get these blades sharpened, get the belt back on it. I have to use this unit later today. So let's get to it. Okay, so something to remember when you go to buy the belt for your tractor. Sometimes people have replaced pulleys. They may have replaced the engine. If they replace the engine and put a different pulley, you could really have a different size belt. So go by the manufacturer's recommended first, but always take the remains of the belt with you to purchase the new belt if it's in one piece. Do whatever you can to recover the old belt so you can take it with you when you go to get a new one. Somebody could have replaced those parts and the belt doesn't even fit, so you can always take the belt. And this is what they look like when you get them. Anybody that hasn't seen one. And it has 46-inch cut. It has the tractors that it's probably used on, but it also, even though it's a 46-inch cut, it's going to have, it could be different lengths because the pulley sizes could be different. So just because it's a 46-inch cut doesn't mean that this belt will fit your 46-inch cut tractor. Some tractors have 3 pulleys, some have 8 pulleys. So you know, it goes by the overall length of the belt. So try to take the old belt with you if you can, and if not, you may end up taking back until you get the right belt. Okay, a final look at this deck before we put the tractor on it. That's the configuration of the belt. Mystery spring, I don't know. So that's what it should look like. I'm gonna pull the tractor back across it or slide it under. You can also slide this thing under the tractor. I have even driven over it, so you can just however you can get the tractor back on top of the deck. So I'll put the unit back on top, and I will attach the belt to the engine pulley and put all this stuff back together. It's not bad. Okay, first thing you do putting this thing back together is get this belt back through this loop. There's a metal loop in there, and this side of the belt needs to go through that loop and then put it back onto the engine pulley. Should be fairly easy. These belts are generally oversized, so it should be easy to get it around that pulley. And if not, you can move these small pulleys to an area or in an area to where you can give you enough slack to put that on. Now the next order of business is what I have trouble with. I had trouble taking it off, and that is this spring. Now the spring has to go on first thing, so I'm going to try to get a good shot for you to see. Yeah, you hear some babies in the background. That's part of what I do also. I take care of my twin girls during the week. This is the weekend. My wife has them now. They're a little bit upset, but they'll be okay. I will edit some of that out, but some of it's going to stay in because, hey, that's what I do. It's my job. My job is taking care of those girls. So. Alright, we got to find that hole. Like I said, this is the toughest part of this whole job. I don't know an easier way to do this. I always dread it when I do this job. I just dread this part of it. It's probably an easier way to do it, some simple way, and somebody knows how to do it, but I don't know it. I hate this part of the job. Alright, there it is. Now, once it went on, I saw how simple it was. It's simple once it's on. You go, oh, well, I could have just bent that way and it would have went on. Yeah, probably, but it seems to never work out that way. So, now, I'm going to check my belts again. Next thing we're going to do is put the bolt for the PTO cable on and the bracket. The bracket is on. Position the camera for you so you can see exactly where this thing is at. Okay, that's going to be a good shot right there. Now you want to make sure your cable is around the back side of this black plastic piece that we should have taken off, but we didn't. And my unit is worn out. All this stuff needs to be replaced, but for the time being, for this job, it's going to be like this. Here's where, now, you could have made this easier by marking where yours was at before you took it off, and mine was marked, so I didn't think about that, but I know exactly where it goes because of the paint. So because actually this is on wrong, it's on backwards. That's okay. We can brackets. Let me get the bracket in the shot here. I'll show you the brackets now. The brackets that we took off first, these brackets have to be folded over and headed towards the front of the unit, because if they're folded back, you'll have to take everything off and fold them back to the front. I know this because I've had to do this a couple of different times, and I almost had to do it just now. I had my wife out here with me out here with the children. And it's a good thing because I picked the unit up and she flipped the brackets forward. That's not possible if you're working by yourself. So always remember those brackets have to face forward before you put the tractor over top. Now, since you got a good shot of the brackets, let me see if that's gonna show where they go in. No. So I will readjust and get you a better shot of where those brackets go in. Now that should be a good shot there of those brackets. Now we're just going to position the deck so that those pins align with the brackets. And I will lift the unit on the back side shortly after we get the two forward brackets on, and we'll get the back brackets. So there's that one. We're going to go ahead and put the pin in it. Okay, we'll go to the other side. Okay, we'll go to the other side. Okay, got that in. Now we're gonna get the back ones. Can't get a good angle of that. Maybe. We'll see. All right. using this remote camera here. Just try to get the best shots I can get. I did this job before and it just didn't show what I wanted to show. I wanted to show people how to do it, but I couldn't get the camera shots. So I have the equipment now, I just have to learn to use it correctly. So that's the one we want to get there. And they have washers on them, and that's to let it move freely on the body. So looks like the washer was on the outside of this. I don't know. Yeah, it was. So I'm gonna put it back there. Actually, I guess it was there. That was probably the pin that, no, that was the washer that did that. I'm gonna put it back there. Now you have to raise this deck up, and I'll raise it up with the Alright. Now, you have to raise that up. This is where you might need some help, or a block of wood. Right now it's resting on my foot. I'm okay with that, so I lifted it, put it on my foot, and see if it focuses there. It's focusing on that tire. There we go. It's gonna focus right there, and put this pin back on there. Should be able to move your foot by now. Now, always wear gloves. I suggest you wear gloves. Keep all these chemicals and things off your hands. And many times it's protected me from getting cut or other things. So I always wear gloves. I think everyone should. This type of work. This side is finished. I'm gonna go back to the other side. We're gonna hang this one, and I'm gonna get you a better shot of this one. Look at it focusing there on that tire again. I'm learning this cameras. This is a DJI camera. It's a little bit different than most cameras, and I'm learning to use it. And this remote part of it can really bring some great shots that I haven't been able to get before. Oh wow, I'm looking at a carrot that just came out of our garden. That's interesting. That's a good looking carrot. Yeah, we will, you know, my channel, we have featured the garden before. I show the garden sometimes. I show a little bit of everything. It's everything that I do, and a lot of times it's things I do my day with the children. It's me. I have the children during the week myself while my wife is at work. Twins. And the channel's kind of about, if you don't know, it's kind of a little bit about how I manage that and how I manage to do that and these projects at the same time. Not very well right now, but I am doing them, but I'm learning them. So, doing all my job, and keeping up with the girls and learning what they need, and have Alright. There's the tractor. Let's see how the PTO feels. Always want to make sure there's no hang in the PTO, which you want to make sure those rods and everything are in place. Okay. Everything feels okay. Double check, look around, double check this belt. Okay. Right, looks to me like everything is in place. I'm gonna start this thing up and give it a try. Okay, so that's all for this episode. The episode changing the belt on the Husqvarna, it's gonna be all. I had included a whole section on sharpening your blades, but the video became too long. So if you want to know how to sharpen your blades, look that episode up. It should be episode 65 or 66, and you can see how I sharpen the blades on this Husqvarna. And that's going to about do it. Remember, they may do it another way, but that's the way I do it. We'll see you next time.